From the very first scene of Logan, you get an almost instant feeling that this movie is going to be different. You feel the raw, brutal, and unapologetic tone. There are no capes, no massive battles in the sky, no perfectly timed heroic music telling you everything's going to be okay. Instead, there's Wolverine, and you know from the very first scene that something is not right. This is not the indestructible killing machine we once knew, but rather the remnants of a man, a mutant, that has seen his best days. Hugh Jackman gives us a version of Logan we've never seen before. Old, beaten down, and broken in ways that are almost hard to watch. This isn't a story about saving the world. It's about scraping by, about survival, and, eventually, finding some sliver of redemption in ways that you least expect. And honestly, it might be one of the best superhero movies ever made because it feels more like a movie, a story we can all relate to in one way or another. The brilliance of Logan lies in its grit and rawness. The film is brutal, both in its violence and its emotional depth, and it doesn't shy away from showing us the toll that a life of fighting, loss, and isolation has taken on its characters. Set in 2029, a time when mutants are nearly extinct, Logan is a shadow of his former self. The claws don't pop like they used to, his healing factor is failing, and he's drowning his sorrows in booze while scraping by as a limo driver. It's a far cry from the invincible Wolverine we've come to know, and that's exactly the point. Logan strips away the mythos of the superhero and shows us the man beneath, a man who is tired, broken, and utterly human. And yet it's this very humanity that makes Logan so extraordinary. James Mangold, who directed and co-wrote the film, crafted a story that feels more like a neo-western than a comic book movie. Logan isn't a hero in shining armor. He's more of a grizzled gunslinger trying to keep his head down and avoid trouble. But trouble, of course, finds him. The film is steeped in themes of legacy and mortality, and every frame feels deliberate, every line of dialogue tinged with melancholy and regret. The world around Logan is bleak, and the stakes are personal, not global. This is a story about saving one little girl, not saving the universe, and that's what makes it so powerful. The little girl in question is Laura, aka X-23, played by the phenomenal Dafne Keen. Laura is a revelation, feral, fierce, and somehow even more brutal than Logan himself. But she's also vulnerable, a child desperately searching for a place in a world that wants her dead. Keen delivers a performance that is equal parts terrifying and heartbreaking, holding her own against Jackman's seasoned gravitas. Their relationship is the beating heart of the film, and watching Logan begrudgingly step into the role of protector and father figure is as satisfying as it is devastating. What sets Logan apart from the sea of superhero films is its authenticity. There's no flashy CGI or over-the-top spectacle here. The action is visceral and unflinching, with fight scenes that feel more like survival than choreography. When Logan slashes his way through enemies, it's messy, it's brutal, and it hurts. The R rating isn't just for show. It allows the film to lean into the true violence of Logan's character, but it also amplifies the emotional weight of the story. Every cut, every wound, every scream feels earned. And then there's Charles C. Xavier, portrayed by Patrick Stewart, in a performance that is as heartbreaking as it is brilliant. This isn't the calm, collected Professor X we're used to. He's frail, mentally unstable, and burdened by the knowledge that his once great mind has become a danger to those around him. The scenes between Charles and Logan are some of the most poignant in the film, offering glimpses of humor, tenderness, and tragedy. Their dynamic is a painful reminder of the passage of time and the weight of responsibility, and Stewart's portrayal of a man clinging to dignity in the face of decline is nothing short of masterful. What's remarkable about Logan is how grounded it feels, despite its comic book origins. The setting, a dystopian future where corporations rule and hope is scarce, feels eerily plausible. There are no alien invasions or time-traveling villains here, just a world that has grown cold and uncaring. This realism extends to the storytelling as well. The script, co-written by Mangold, Scott Frank, and Michael Green, is tight and focused, eschewing the sprawling subplots and bloated runtime that plague so many superhero movies. Every scene serves a purpose, driving the story forward or deepening our understanding of the characters. But Logan isn't just a grim exercise in deconstructing superhero tropes. It's also a deeply emotional film, one that explores themes of redemption, family, and the cost of violence. Logan has spent his entire life running from connection, convinced that everyone he cares about will be hurt because of him. But through Laura, he finds a chance at something he never thought possible, a legacy worth leaving behind. The film also knows when to let its quieter moments breathe. Scenes of Logan, Charles, and Laura on the road, sharing small, human moments, are just as impactful as the film's more action-packed sequences. These moments remind us that at its core, Logan is a story about broken people finding solace in one another, however fleeting that solace may be. It's worth noting the risks Logan took in breaking away from the traditional superhero formula. In an era dominated by interconnected cinematic universes and post-credit teases, Logan dared to be self-contained and final. There's no setup for a sequel, no hints at a larger world. It's a standalone story, and it benefits immensely from that focus. By choosing to tell a deeply personal story, Logan elevates itself above the noise and becomes something timeless. Is Logan the greatest superhero movie ever made? That's a question that will be debated for years to come, but it's hard to deny that it's one of the most unique. It's a film that respects its characters, trusts its audience, and refuses to pull its punches. It's raw, it's brutal, and it's beautiful. In many ways, Logan is less about being a superhero movie and more about being a human movie. It's a story of pain, love, and finding purpose in a world that has lost its way. Logan set a bar that few, if any, films have reached since. It's a reminder that the best stories aren't about spectacle or special effects. They're about people. And in the case of Logan, it's about one man's final, bloody journey toward redemption. The film's final act is both harrowing and cathartic, culminating in a finale that is as devastating as it is beautiful. Logan's death, cradling Laura's hand and hearing her call him Daddy, is a moment that will stay with audiences long after the credits roll. As the credits rolled, I couldn't help but feel a sense of loss, not just for Logan, but for the superhero genre itself. If that's not the mark of a masterpiece, I don't know what is. It's one of the very few movies in the superhero genre that will be just as good 10 years from now as it is today. A true classic in a sea of mediocrity. Subscribe to be part of our community here at Poprageous, and we'll see you in our next movie breakdown.